Hello, welcome back to part 2 of my presentation on Life and Spectrum, C.G. Malloy's autobiography. So in part 1, I covered C.G. Malloy's disability as defined by him, which I think is very important to get his perspective on his disability because, as he says, he's lived with it his entire life. So in part 2, what I want to do is cover positive strategies for creating a good educational experience for a student like C.G. Malloy with his specific needs. Now, in order to do that, I think I would start with a strengths and strategies profile as created by P. Kluth and M. Demon-Borowski. Now, on their form, they say that you should do no less than 50 of each items. And on their form, they have strengths, gifts, interests, and talents. But for the interest of this assignment, we stuck to just strength and strategies. So to begin by creating a list of the strengths is really important. I think it kind of contrasts the world that Malloy lived in pre-1975, before the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, where children like Malloy were only seen as liabilities and defined by their weaknesses. And to look at the strengths that Malloy has, I think he's an excellent role model, showing how a student with a disability can overcome preconceived notions, they can overcome societal norms, and they can learn to adapt on their own. And I think if he was given the appropriate tools, he could really have excelled. And that one of the things he talks about a lot is it was really important for his family, for him to be able to have the skills to live on his own. And because it was important to his family, it became important to Malloy as well. And if during his education, he would have had a transition plan, an IEP with a transition plan, I think that really would have helped him move out into the real world in a really positive direction. So if you look at the strengths that Malloy has, he's a strong reader. He has an excellent memory. He's mechanically inclined. He's honest. He has a pretty good understanding. He talks about how if people are mean, it's not because they're just really nice people at heart. It's because they're kind of mean. And so I think that helps him be a really good judge of character. He's polite. He's a really creative problem solver. He's good with money. He talks a lot about how he's a really frugal person. It seems like he has a strong sense of self. He's good at fixing things. He has good impulse control. He's very detailed oriented. He's pragmatic. He works independently. He's analytical. And I think all of these things really add up to the kind of employee most people would want. Now, he does talk about struggling to find work because he feels like he's just kind of going along with that fake it till you make it mentality, but he doesn't actually make it. And so he fakes it until he feels like he can't fake it anymore, and then he quits. And so he tries to find like jobs where he's like night security, where he doesn't really interact with people and he doesn't have to do a whole lot. And he'll work a job for a while until it becomes too much for him, and then he saves up money and quits. So I don't think that really plays to his strengths at all. So the strategies to provide clear written instructions instead of just verbal, to let him observe a task before attempting it, provide opportunity to work with his hands, to try to speak as literally as possible, allow him to explore alternate methods for tasks. I think his problem solving can become a valuable asset to a lot of employers. And reading this autobiography, it really helped me view students with disabilities from the perspective that maybe a lot of these students don't necessarily need IEPs. Maybe they're a lot more like Malloy, and with a little bit of understanding and a little bit of respect, if we just tried to teach more flexibly to hit a much broader range of student, there would probably be a lot less need for IEPs in the educational world. I think the most valuable thing that we can do is meet the students where they are. And that concludes my presentation. Thanks for listening.